After the magnet has been ramped down, you are ready to replace the displacer. Switch off the compressor and disconnect the power cable for the cold head motor. To replace the displacer, you will need the following tools from the cryo service set: guide sleeve extractor, 1 3/16 inch and 1 inch open end wrench, threaded rod, displacer extractor, box wrench for clamp, 2 1/2 inch female Aeroquip adapters, 1 each small flange and swage lock type, 17 millimeter open end wrench, screwdriver. Unscrew the pressure lines from the cold head. Unscrew the high pressure line first. Use 2 wrenches to avoid turning the high pressure line itself as you unscrew the connector. Unscrew the low pressure line in the same way. Check once more to make sure that the magnet is completely ramped down before removing the cover of the cold head. Note that even after the pressure lines have been removed, an excess pressure of approximately 15 bar remains in the cold head. Release this excess pressure by screwing the Aeroquip adapter down onto the high pressure side until the helium gas begins to escape, then removing it. Mark the location of the cold head motor. Loosen the clamp and remove the motor. Be sure to perform the next steps in a single operation to keep the displacer from freezing up. Remove the spacer. Screw the guide sleeve extractor into the threaded holes of the guide sleeve and remove it. Wear gloves to prevent cryogen burns when removing the displacer. Screw the displacer extractor into one of the holes of the displacer and remove it. Check the direction of the motor before reinserting it into the cold head. The motor should turn in a clockwise direction. Be sure that the power supply is set to the correct frequency. The power supply is a part of the cryo service set. If the new control valve and the O-rings are delivered in the container, remove them from the container. Wear cotton gloves when handling these parts. Don't forget to reclose the container. Lightly burnish the contact surfaces of the new control valve with the polishing stone. The polishing stone is part of the cryo service set. The valve should rotate easily on the motor shaft. If necessary, enlarge the slots with a file. Next, carefully remove the old O-rings from the guide sleeve. Clean the guide sleeve thoroughly and refit it with the new O-rings. Screw in the threaded rod to make the guide sleeve easier to insert later. Clean the spacer and arrange the remaining parts so that they can be easily reinstalled. You may now begin heating up the cold head. You will need the following equipment: heat gun with cylinder adapter, thermometer, Allen key, tweezers, paper towels, flashlight, flat-nosed pliers. Normally, the cold head will have iced up during the previous steps. To heat the cold head, insert the heat gun with adapter, being careful not to scratch the inside of the cold head. It is important that the heat gun be correctly placed, since heating the cold head can take some time. Start the heat gun at setting number 7. To avoid overheating, be sure to check the temperature in both stages often during the operation. Both stages should be heated simultaneously to 70 degrees Celsius. The flow of heated air to the 2 stages can be regulated with the adjustment screw on the hot air cylinder. Raise the adjustment screw about 5 millimeters to start. The bigger the opening, the more air flow to the upper stage. Wrap a piece of paper toweling around the tweezers. When the temperature reaches approximately 40 degrees Celsius, clean out the inside of the cold head with paper toweling. Measure the temperature and reheat the cold head several times. Avoid overheating. After the new displacer has been installed, the cold head must be purged with helium gas. Since you have only 90 seconds to install the new displacer and reassemble and purge the cold head, you must prepare for purging in advance. 2 people are needed to perform this task. Set the pressure regulator to 10 bar. The shutoff valve should remain closed. Connect the helium gas bottle to the high-pressure side of the cold head through the pressure line and AeroQuip adapter. Now prepare the new displacer for installation. Wear cotton gloves to perform this task. Slide the ring compressors over the first, second stage, and the control piston of the displacer to ensure that the gaskets are firmly seated. The compression rings can be found in the cryo service set. Return the displacer to the container. After both stages are heated to 70 degrees Celsius, reheat the cold head once more to 70 degrees Celsius. Then attach the purge adapter to the low pressure side of the cold head. Remember, you have only 90 seconds to install the displacer and reassemble and purge the cold head. Your 90 seconds begin as soon as you have heated the cold head to 70 degrees Celsius for the last time. Now you see the procedure in real time without comment.
Das?
Here you see a simulation of the procedure, slowed down, with comments by a narrator. As soon as the heat gun and adapter are removed, remove the compression rings from the second stage and from the control piston of the displacer. Insert the new displacer quickly and carefully, using a slight twisting motion. Be sure the gaskets are properly seated. The compression ring will be pushed out and, once the displacer is inserted as far as possible into the cold head housing, can then be removed. Using both thumbs, push the guide sleeve as far as it will go into the cold head housing. The rim of the housing should now be visible. Insert the spacer, making sure that one of the holes lies between the high and low pressure connections. Insert the O-ring and clamp. Tighten the clamp evenly to secure the motor in its original position. When the motor is seated correctly, the shutoff valve on the gas bottle will open and the motor will engage. You will now notice helium gas escaping in puffs from the low pressure side of the cold head. The clamp can be screwed down while purging. After approximately 5 puffs, close the shutoff valve. You will hear a rushing sound as all the helium escapes from the cold head. When the noise becomes faint, reopen the shutoff valve. Repeat this operation 5 to 10 times. The motor should remain engaged during the purging process. To complete the purge, proceed as follows. Open the shutoff valve, unscrew the AeroQuip adapter on the low pressure side, switch off the motor. Unscrew the AeroQuip adapter on the high pressure side. Always reconnect the pressure lines in the following order. First, the high pressure line. Second, the low pressure line. Tighten the AeroQuip adapters fully, then back them off a quarter turn. After the power cable to the motor is replaced, the compressor can be switched back on and the cold head cover replaced. If you had to cut the clamp screw to fit inside the cover, you will need a new clamp the next time the cold head is serviced. After approximately 12 hours, recheck the pressure. With the compressor switched off, the fill pressure should be 14.5 to 15 bar for 50 Hz systems, or 12.5 to 13 bar for 60 Hz systems.